Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you.
1.
James Carter Cathcart's professional life was one of clarity, control, and resonance. Yet behind the microphone, where his voice animated some of the most beloved characters in modern animation, he faced battles that tested not only his career, but his identity. In 2023, Cathcart made the deeply personal decision to retire after being diagnosed with oral and throat cancer. For a man whose instrument was his voice, the diagnosis struck at the core of his being. This wasn't merely a health crisis. It was an existential reckoning. For over 2 decades, his voice had brought life to characters like James, Meowth, and Professor Oak. To lose that voice, or to risk diminishing its power, was to confront a profound transformation. Yet Cathcart's response was emblematic of the quiet courage that defined his life. Rather than retreat from the public eye in silence, he chose transparency. His departure from the Pokémon series was not sudden, but graceful. He had seen the series through 25 full seasons, remaining present for fans and castmates even as he navigated treatment. It was a decision that spoke to his professionalism and his empathy. He did not want to leave the world he helped build without preparing those who loved it. Beyond the illness, Cathcart faced the emotional toll of leaving a medium that had defined much of his adult life. Having spent 17 years not just voicing, but scripting the English dub of Pokémon, his connection to the series was intimate and layered. Letting go of that responsibility, while knowing the characters would live on without him, required a form of acceptance that few artists are prepared to face. Through it all, he remained grounded by relationships, with his wife Martha, with his fellow voice actors, and with fans whose appreciation gave him strength. Their tribute spoke not just to his talent, but to his resilience, optimism, and unshakable generosity of spirit. Cathcart's final challenge was not simply one of illness, but of legacy. He met it with humility and grace. In the end, he did not allow silence to define him. Instead, he chose the timing of his farewell, and in doing so, ensured his voice would be remembered on his own terms.
Two.
David Kaff, born David Kaffanetti in April 1946, left behind a distinguished legacy as both a musician and actor whose work resonated across generations. Rising to prominence in the late 1960s, Kaff co-founded the British progressive rock band Rare Bird, a pioneering group known for its innovative use of keyboards and synthesizers. Their 1970 single Sympathy became an international success, reaching number 27 on the UK charts and selling over 1 million copies worldwide. The track's haunting melody and philosophical tone solidified Rare Bird's position in the early wave of progressive rock and introduced Kaff's musical prowess to a global audience. Kaff's artistry extended beyond music studios. In 1972, he contributed as a studio keyboardist on the London Chuck Berry sessions, collaborating with the legendary American guitarist in a moment that bridged transatlantic rock traditions. In 1984, Kaff stepped into the cinematic spotlight through Rob Reiner's satirical masterpiece, This Is Spinal Tap. Portraying Viv Savage, the soft-spoken, eccentric keyboardist of the fictional band, Kaff delivered some of the film's most memorable moments, including the iconic motto, "Have a good time, all the time." Though a parody, The film was deeply rooted in real experiences from the rock world, and Kaff's performance lent authenticity and humor that critics and fans still cite today. His appearance in the band's Saturday Night Live performance the same year remains a cultural touchpoint for fans of rock satire. Post-Spinal Tap, Kaff returned to the stage with a renewed focus on intimate, creatively driven projects. He joined bands such as Model Citizens in Oakland and later Mutual of Alameda's Wild Kingdom in San Francisco. These groups, while less commercially prominent, allowed him to explore music on his own terms, away from the demands of mainstream exposure. Kaff's artistic journey also included contributions to soundtracks like Cowboy in Sweden, 1970, and Black Dog, 1998, further showcasing his range. In his later years, he turned to visual art, sharing his work with followers online and continuing to create until the end. Across music, film, and art, David Kaff's enduring success was defined by a fearless embrace of experimentation and a lasting influence on the culture of sound and satire.
3.
Rebekah Del Rio, the distinctive voice whose haunting rendition of Lorando became a defining moment in David Lynch's Mulholland Drive, has passed away at the age of 57. The Los Angeles Medical Examiner confirmed that Del Rio died at her home on June 23, 2025. The official cause of death remains pending further investigation. Born in Chula Vista, California, Del Rio's life was one marked by both artistic triumph and quiet personal battles. From her early performances in San Diego's music scene, her talent carried her beyond borders. Yet it was her raw, emotive interpretation of Llorando, a Spanish-language version of Roy Orbison's Crying, that resonated across generations. Her collaboration with David Lynch came not through auditions, but through shared creative intuition. Lynch, captivated by Del Rio's voice during a private meeting arranged by their mutual agent, recorded her performance in secret, an impromptu act that would become the soul of Mulholland Drive's iconic Club Silencio sequence. Del Rio's voice, layered with vulnerability and sorrow, left an indelible mark on cinema. Speaking about the performance, she once reflected, "I sang through every take, not for the camera, but so the audience could feel the tremble in my voice, the ache behind the lyrics." Her dedication wasn't just technical. It revealed the weight of her own lived experiences, including profound loss and resilience. Her music continued to grace Hollywood projects, from Twin Peaks, The Return to Sin City, and Southland Tales, where her voice underscored scenes of both beauty and despair. Off-screen, Del Rio faced heartbreak, most notably the loss of her only son, Philip C. DeMars, in 2009. Yet, she channeled grief into her art, performing globally and inspiring audiences with her unwavering emotional honesty. Just weeks before her passing, she performed at a charity screening of Mulholland Drive, her voice still echoing with the same haunting depth that defined her career. Rebekah Del Rio's legacy is not merely in the notes she sang, but in her fearless ability to expose vulnerability, a reminder that even the most ethereal voices often carry the heaviest burdens.
4.
Walter Scott Jr., the unmistakable voice and co-founder of the iconic R&B group The Whispers, has passed away at the age of 81. He died on June 26, 2025, at his home in Northridge, California, after a courageous battle with cancer, surrounded by his family. For over 6 decades, Walter's artistry resonated far beyond music charts. His belief that music could heal, unify, and uplift shaped not only his performances, but the countless lives he touched. Friends recall his gentle presence offstage, where his wisdom and humility made everyone feel seen and valued. Born in Fort Worth, Texas in 1944, Walter's journey into music began alongside his identical twin brother, Wallace "Scotty" Scott. They co-founded The Whispers in 1963, creating an enduring legacy of smooth harmonies and soulful love songs that transcended generations. Their unique sound became synonymous with timeless R&B. Walter's path was briefly interrupted when he was drafted into the Vietnam War, a chapter of his life that deepened his perspective and fueled his commitment to using music as a bridge between people. Returning to the group in 1969, he helped shape albums that would later define the golden era of soul and R&B. Hits like "And the Beat," "Goes On," "Rock Steady," and "It's a Love Thing" not only cemented the Whispers' place in music history, but also spoke to themes of resilience, joy, and love, values Walter carried both on and off stage. His contributions helped earn the group numerous gold and platinum albums, as well as induction into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2003. Walter Scott Jr. is survived by his wife Jan, 2 sons, 3 grandchildren, and his twin brother Scotty, the last living founder of The Whispers, now entrusted with carrying forward their remarkable musical legacy. Though the final note may have played, Walter's voice and spirit continue to echo through generations of music lovers worldwide.
5.
Lulu Roman, the cherished comedian, singer, and symbol of resilience for millions of Americans, has passed away at the age of 78. She died on April 23, 2025, in Washington State, where she had recently relocated to be closer to her family. Born Bertha Louise Habel in Dallas, Texas in 1946, Lulu's early years were marked by hardship. Abandoned to an orphanage at the age of 4, she carried with her not only the pain of rejection, but also a lifelong battle with health issues stemming from a thyroid condition that led to childhood obesity. Yet, it was precisely those challenges that shaped her unbreakable spirit and sharp comedic instinct. Her breakthrough came in 1969 when country music icon Buck Owens helped introduce her to Hee Haw, the rural sketch comedy and variety show that would make her a household name for over 2 decades. With quick wit and undeniable stage presence, Lulu transformed public perceptions of beauty and belonging, offering audiences laughter and a sense of connection. Behind the scenes, however, her journey was not without struggle. Battles with substance abuse in the early 1970s led to legal troubles and a temporary departure from the show. But it was through those dark chapters that Lulu discovered her faith, a turning point that fueled both her personal recovery and her gospel music career. Lulu's soulful voice earned her a Dove Award and induction into the Country Gospel Music Hall of Fame. Her songs, marked by themes of grace and redemption, reflected not only her artistry but her lived experiences of loss, forgiveness, and self-acceptance. Despite immense personal loss, including the death of her son Justin in 2017, Lulu remained a symbol of perseverance. Her weight loss journey, her openness about past mistakes, and her unwavering compassion for the marginalized cemented her status as more than an entertainer. She was a testament to the power of healing. Lulu Roman is survived by her son Damon and a legacy of humor, faith, and humanity that continues to inspire.
6.
Dayle Haddon, whose elegance, intellect, and resilience made her an enduring icon in fashion, film, and humanitarian work, has passed away at the age of 76. She died on December 27, 2024, following a tragic suspected carbon monoxide leak while visiting her family in Pennsylvania. Born in Montreal, Canada, Haddon's rise to international fame was not merely defined by beauty, but by a profound commitment to defying limitations. From early modeling appearances to gracing the covers of Vogue, Elle, and Sports Illustrated, she carved a path as both a trailblazer for women over 40 and a vocal critic of ageism in the fashion industry. Haddon became the face of global campaigns for L'Oréal, Revlon, Estée Lauder, and Max Factor, representing timeless beauty across Europe, North America, and Asia for over 15 years. Yet beyond the camera lens, her life was marked by depth, curiosity, and service. As an actress, she earned acclaim with roles in The World's Greatest Athlete, North Dallas 40, and European cinema, while her work with UNICEF and the nonprofit Women Won reflected her belief that beauty must be rooted in purpose. Despite her success, Haddon's life was not untouched by adversity. Those close to her spoke of a woman who carried spiritual wisdom and compassion, often using her own struggles to uplift others. Her daughter, journalist Ryan Haddon, remembered her as deeply creative, gifted with beauty inside and out, and always building bridges to help others rise. Dayle's final years were dedicated to challenging societal expectations around aging, urging women to embrace every stage of life with confidence. Her last public appearance, a podcast interview on overcoming ageism in fashion, epitomized her enduring message: every age has gifts to offer. Haddon leaves behind a legacy far greater than magazine covers or screen roles. Her advocacy for education, equality, and human dignity continues to inspire. She is survived by her daughter Ryan, her extended family, and a global community who saw in her not just a face of beauty, but a champion for the soul's evolution.
7.
Mel Novak, whose imposing screen presence made him a staple of martial arts cinema and whose quiet faith guided his life off camera, has passed away at the age of 90. He died peacefully in a care facility in Granada Hills, California, surrounded by family. Born Milan Mistinovic in Pittsburgh to Serbian immigrant parents, Novak's path to Hollywood was far from conventional. As a young man, he dreamed of a career in professional baseball, signing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But a devastating shoulder injury shattered those hopes, forcing him to rebuild not only his body, but his sense of purpose. After years of recovery, Novak found new direction in Los Angeles, first as a model, then as an actor. It was in the world of action films that he carved his legacy, often portraying the villain with a dangerous charm audiences loved to hate. His most iconic role came as Stick, the deadly hitman with a matchstick perpetually clenched between his teeth, in Bruce Lee's Game of Death. Though Novak joined the project after Lee's passing, the film immortalized him among martial arts cinema legends. Known for performing his own stunts, Novak brought authenticity to every role, from Black Belt Jones to the Ultimate Warrior, often enduring real physical pain for the sake of the scene. Yet behind the tough exterior was a man shaped by quiet conviction. For over 4 decades, Novak served as an ordained minister, dedicating his life to prison outreach, missions, and work with the homeless in Los Angeles. He believed his roles as on-screen villains created unexpected common ground with those society often casts aside. "I've died on screen more than 25 times, Novak once joked, but faith taught me that life's real battles are won off camera. Mel Novak is survived by his daughters Nicole and Leah and his grandchildren Allie and Ryan. His grandson Eli preceded him in death. His forthcoming memoir, Cross Airs, will offer deeper insight into his journey from sports tragedy to cinematic infamy, and, ultimately, spiritual redemption.
8.
Jack Betts, whose remarkable journey spanned from Broadway stages to international cinema screens, has passed away at the age of 96. He died in his sleep at his home in Los Osos, California, leaving behind a legacy of artistic dedication and quiet resilience. Born in Jersey City and raised in Miami, Betts's fascination with acting was sparked as a boy after witnessing Laurence Olivier's iconic performance in Wuthering Heights. That spark would ignite a career that endured across 7 decades, defined by versatility, perseverance, and a deep love for storytelling. After graduating from the University of Miami with a degree in theater, Betts began his professional journey on Broadway with Richard III in 1953. His stage presence continued to evolve with acclaimed performances in productions like Sweet Bird of Youth and the long-running Dracula, where he portrayed Dr. Seward. While Betts left a significant mark in theater, his career expanded across continents. Under the name Hunt Powers, he became a leading figure in the Italian spaghetti western era, bringing charm and complexity to roles like Dr. Tom Copper in Sugar Colt. His work extended to major Hollywood productions, including The Assassination of Trotsky, Falling Down, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where he memorably portrayed Henry Balkin. Behind the camera, Betts's journey was marked by quiet struggles, navigating the relentless demands of show business while staying rooted in his craft. Those close to him describe a man of discipline, humility, and quiet introspection, who remained steadfast in his artistic convictions. Betts shared a unique bond with actress Doris Roberts, his close friend and confidant for decades. Together, they championed theater, most notably through Betts' play Screen Test, Take One, which Roberts directed. Though he never sought the spotlight beyond his work, Betts became a quiet mentor to many, offering encouragement to actors navigating their own uncertain paths. Jack Betts is survived by his sister Joan, his nieces and nephew, and countless peers who found inspiration in his dedication to the arts.
Nine.
Jack Lilley, a beloved figure behind the scenes of Hollywood's golden age of westerns and a fixture on Little House on the Prairie, has passed away at the age of 91. He died peacefully after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease, surrounded by family at the motion picture and television country house and hospital in Woodland Hills, California. Born in Hughes Springs, Texas in 1933, Lilley's journey to the screen began with a love of horses and the rugged landscapes of the American West. By age 14, he was working as a horseback extra in classic film sets, foreshadowing a lifetime spent between the saddle and the silver screen. Lilley's career flourished as he became one of Hollywood's most trusted stuntmen, known for his quiet professionalism and fearless dedication. His collaborations spanned decades, from riding alongside Clint Eastwood in Rawhide to orchestrating daring sequences in Blazing Saddles, Young Guns, Army of Darkness, and Planet of the Apes. His playful spirit famously turned an accidental fall into a memorable comedic moment, forever preserved by director Mel Brooks. But for many, Lilley will be remembered most for his enduring presence on Little House on the Prairie, where he worked every season as both an actor and stunt coordinator. To a young Melissa Gilbert, he was more than a colleague. He was a mentor and friend, patiently teaching her to ride horses and embracing her youthful energy with unwavering kindness. Lilley's legacy extended beyond the set. His company, Movin' On Livestock, provided animals for countless productions, while his dedication to teaching stars like Billy Crystal to ride reflected his passion for the craft and generosity of spirit. A veteran of the U.S. Navy and a man who faced physical challenges with resilience, sustaining only a broken nose in 5 decades of stunt work, Lilley's life was defined by quiet strength, loyalty, and humility. He is survived by his sons Clay, Clint, and Ben, all continuing his legacy in the stunt community, along with 5 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren. Sal Maida, the acclaimed bassist, whose eclectic career spanned 5 decades and shaped the sound of underground rock, passed away on Saturday in New York. He was 76. His wife, singer-songwriter Lisa Burns Maida, confirmed that Maida succumbed to complications following a fall in December. His passing marks the end of a remarkable life that bridged the worlds of glam rock, punk, and power pop with quiet brilliance. Born on July 29, 1948, in New York's Little Italy, Maida's earliest memories were laced with the hum of jukeboxes, spilling Sinatra, Ray Charles, and Motown onto city streets. Music became more than background noise, it was a calling. Though he studied economics at Fordham University, his true education came through record stores and relentless gigs that sharpened his musicianship and shaped his identity. A towering figure at 6'6", Maida carried his instrument with a signature calm. His work with Roxy Music on their Stranded tour in 1973 and as part of the influential Milk and Cookies captured his knack for blending precision with understated charm. Those who shared stages with him recall a musician who anchored every song without demanding the spotlight. His fingerprints can be found on pivotal moments in rock history, whether playing with Sparks during their Big Beat era, collaborating with Ronnie Spector, or supporting icons like The Runaways and Mary Weiss. For Maida, music was never about ego. It was about craftsmanship, energy, and connection. Beyond performance, he nurtured the culture he loved. His memoir, 4 Strings, Phony Proof, and 345s offered not only personal anecdotes, but a deep reverence for the vinyl records that defined generations. His later editorial work celebrated the overlooked gems of classic rock, championing the underdogs of an industry he understood intimately. Maida's life was marked by both public applause and private grief, notably the loss of his son Dylan to melanoma in 2019. A heartbreak that deepened his reflective nature, but never dimmed his humor or warmth. He is survived by his wife Lisa, his son's godparents, and countless friends who recall his generosity, his wit, and the enduring pulse of his bass lines. Ted Pedas, the pioneering Greek-American businessman and film producer whose influence spanned both Hollywood and the Greek diaspora, passed away on March 21st at the age of 93. His life reflected a rare combination of entrepreneurial spirit, cultural devotion, and quiet perseverance behind some of cinema's most acclaimed independent films. Born into a Greek immigrant family, Theodore Ted Pedas pursued excellence early, earning an MBA from the University of Pennsylvania's prestigious Wharton School in 1954. Together with his brother James, he shared not only familial ties, but an enduring business partnership that would shape multiple industries over decades. What began as a record label venture, Colt 45 Records, soon evolved into a passion for cinema. The brothers acquired drive-in theaters and art house cinemas, eventually founding Circle Films, a production company that would help launch the careers of groundbreaking filmmakers. Among their most lasting contributions was their instrumental role in producing the early films of the Coen Brothers, including Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing, and Barton Fink, works that would define modern independent cinema. Yet Pedas's impact reached far beyond the film industry. His deep love for Greece and commitment to preserving Hellenic values were constants in his life. A respected figure within the American Hellenic Institute, AHI, Pedas provided vital support that helped sustain the organization's mission in its formative years. His efforts were driven by a belief that culture and heritage must be nurtured, both in spirit and in practice. AHI President Nick Larigakis described him as a tremendous Hellene, whose unwavering dedication to Hellenic ideals inspired countless others. Pedas also gave back through education, establishing the Theodore and James Pedas Professorship in Intellectual Property and Technology Law at George Washington University, merging his passion for knowledge, law, and innovation. Ted Pedas is survived by his wife, Leah. children George, Billy, and Michelle, his brother James, and 6 grandchildren. His legacy of artistic integrity, cultural pride, and generosity will endure, echoing through every frame of the films he championed and every cause he supported. Michael Schlesinger, a name synonymous with the preservation and celebration of cinema's golden legacy, has passed away at 74, leaving behind an irreplaceable mark on the world of film. Though his official titles placed him within United Artists, Paramount, and Sony repertory, Schlesinger's true identity was always rooted in his profound devotion to classic cinema. His efforts revived masterpieces such as the 70mm restoration of Lawrence of Arabia and safeguarded unfinished treasures like Orson Welles' It's All True, exemplifying his unwavering belief that no fragment of film history should fade into obscurity. Fellow historian Joseph McBride described him as a true mensch, recalling Schlesinger's determination to protect film culture, even when navigating studios reluctant to appreciate its full worth. Born in Dayton, Ohio, Schlesinger's love affair with the silver screen began early. After graduating from Ohio University, he nurtured that passion through repertory theaters and television, before embarking on a decades-long career advocating for cinema's forgotten gems. His humor and accessibility resonated with audiences, particularly through his commentaries on It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, his self-proclaimed favorite, and other enduring classics. But Schlesinger's legacy extended far beyond the projection booth. His playful reimagining of Godzilla 2000 for U.S. audiences showcased his ability to bridge cultural divides with wit, crafting films that made audiences laugh with, rather than at, the genre's quirks. In his later years, Schlesinger directed retro comedies like The Adventures of Biffle and Schuster and Rock and Doris, Try to Write a Movie, cementing his role not just as a steward of film history, but as an artist in his own right. For generations of cinephiles, Michael Schlesinger was more than a historian. He was a guardian of shared memories, a voice for overlooked artistry, and proof that cinema's past, when cherished, continues to enrich the present. Marjorie Nona Grande, the cherished grandmother of global pop star Ariana Grande and a familiar figure to millions of her admirers, has passed away peacefully at the age of 99. Her family confirmed that she was surrounded by loved ones in her final days at home. A symbol of strength and warmth within the Grande family, Marjorie Grande held a unique place not only as a grandmother, but also as an enduring presence in Ariana's artistic journey. Born in the early 20th century, Marjorie's life traversed nearly a century of profound change, but through it all, she remained an unwavering foundation for her family. Ariana Grande shared the news via an emotional tribute on social media, posting a black-and-white photograph of Marjorie alongside her late husband, Frank Grande, with the simple yet powerful caption, "Forever." Marjorie, affectionately known as Nona, captured the hearts of Ariana's fans worldwide when she made history earlier this year as the oldest living person to appear on the Billboard Hot 100. Her gentle voice featured on the track Ordinary Things, from Ariana's critically acclaimed album Eternal Sunshine, offering heartfelt relationship advice. Never go to bed without kissing goodnight. It was a moment that exemplified her quiet wisdom, delivered with humility and grace. Throughout Ariana's rise to international stardom, Marjorie was often seen accompanying her granddaughter to high-profile events, including the MTV Video Music Awards and the Time 100 Gala. Their bond was a testament to the enduring importance of family, even under the spotlight of global fame. Marjorie's journey with her husband Frank began when they met as children. blossoming into a lifelong partnership that weathered the challenges of war, loss, and change. Following Frank's passing in 2014, Marjorie continued to inspire her family with resilience and unwavering support. In one of her final public moments, Marjorie accompanied Ariana to a private hometown screening of Wicked, celebrating her granddaughter's latest cinematic milestone. As Ariana's brother, Frankie Grande, shared, "You were my safe place, my greatest champion. I feel you watching over me already." Marjorie Grande's legacy transcends her family, leaving behind an example of quiet dignity, humor, and love. Breaking news. Today, we celebrate the extraordinary life of a woman whose rhinestone-studded dreams and honeyed voice have transcended decades, genres, and expectations. Dolly Parton, the radiant queen of country music, a tireless philanthropist, and a beacon of resilience, has captivated the world not just with her songs, but with her soul. Her name alone evokes glitter, gospel, grit, and grace. But beneath the wigs and wide smile lies a story that defies fairy tale simplicity. A story of unwavering purpose, quiet strength, and a heart big enough to carry generations. Born into poverty in the foothills of Tennessee's Smoky Mountains, Dolly's rise to global stardom is nothing short of astonishing. She once said, "We were poor, but we had love." And that love, for family, for faith, for music, would become the cornerstone of her legend. With 12 siblings, no electricity, and barely enough to eat, the girl who would become an icon sang her way through hardship with a voice that carried hope like sunlight breaking through mountain fog. By the time she was 5, Dolly was already writing songs. At 10, she performed on local radio. And before she even had a driver's license, she had a record deal. Nashville heard her coming, but it could not yet imagine how she would change it forever. She arrived with a suitcase full of songs and a head full of dreams, wearing homemade dresses and carrying the kind of confidence only the purest souls dare to wear. The world may have seen a country girl with big hair and bigger ambitions, but what they did not see, yet, was the fire underneath. Her ascent was not smooth. She was dismissed for her accent, underestimated for her femininity, and overlooked in boardrooms dominated by men who did not know what to do with a woman who smiled sweetly and spoke her mind. But Dolly didn't shrink. She didn't change her voice, or her look, or her heart. She just kept writing, singing, and showing up, again and again, until the world could no longer ignore her brilliance. Songs like Jolene and I Will Always. Love You were not just hits. They were emotional anthems sung from the marrow. And when 9 to 5 exploded into the world, Dolly became more than a singer. She became a symbol of working women everywhere, unshaken, unbossed, and unapologetically powerful. She lit up the silver screen and the Grand Ole Opry with the same contagious spirit, joy wrapped in determination, glitter anchored in grit. Yet what makes Dolly's story timeless is not just her success, but the storms she survived. Health battles, emotional burnout, public scrutiny, and moments of spiritual exhaustion. She has faced them all. But rather than hide them, she speaks openly of them. Her life is a testament that healing is not linear, that light can live with shadows, and that sometimes the strongest thing a woman can do is get up and sing anyway. So how does Dolly Parton stay so radiant? How does she keep that iconic voice strong, that spirit unbreakable, that heart open, even after 60 years of performing, giving, and loving the world out loud? The answers lie in faith, in family, in her fierce commitment to service, and in her belief that the soul needs music, like the body needs breath. This is not just the story of a singer. It is the journey of a woman who turned hardship into harmony, pain into power, and a little cabin in Tennessee into the beating heart of country music. Stay with us as we follow Dolly's path through fame, fatigue, faith, and fierce love, and uncover the melody of a life well sung. Dolly Rebekah Parton was not born into ease. She was born into the hills, into the mud and melody of Tennessee's Smoky Mountains, where the mornings were fog-drenched, the winters were biting, and the homes were more love than luxury. Her childhood cabin had no electricity, no running water, no insulation against the cold. The children shared beds, sometimes sleeping 3 or 4 across, wrapped in patched quilts sewn by their mother's hands. There was not much money, but there was music. Always, there was music. From an early age, Dolly understood that sound could be a sanctuary. Her mother, A.V. Lee, sang to pass time and pain, her voice carrying Appalachian ballads learned from generations before. Dolly listened, and when she began to sing back, timidly at first, then boldly, something clicked. Her voice was her escape, her imagination, her map. By the age of 5, she was writing songs on a broken guitar. By 10, she was performing on local radio, already known in her small county as that little Parton girl with the big voice. She was not just singing to be heard, she was singing to survive. When she graduated from high school, she did what few from her town dared to do. She left. With a suitcase in hand and songs in her head, she boarded a bus to Nashville. She had no backup plan, no safety net, but she had belief. A belief that her story, however humble, mattered. That a girl from a forgotten holler could stand on the same stages as the legends she'd heard crackling through her daddy's radio. Nashville was not welcoming at first. Some saw her glitter and dismissed her. Some heard her accent and mocked it. But Dolly never apologized for who she was. She leaned into her roots, kept writing, kept knocking, kept smiling, until the world finally opened the door. It was never just about becoming a star. For Dolly, it was about honoring where she came from. Every lyric, every chord, every performance, they were stitched with memory, stitched with mountain soil and Sunday hymns. Her rise to stardom was not a leap, but a climb, steady, soulful, and utterly unstoppable. From the very beginning, people saw Dolly Parton and made assumptions. The big blonde wigs, the sky-high heels, the tight, sparkly dresses, the sweet southern drawl. She looked like a living cartoon to some. A character, not a person. But while they laughed, Dolly listened. And while they judged, she kept building something deeper, a legacy not of appearances, but of sharp wit, business brilliance, and unshakable purpose. Dolly knew exactly what she was doing. Her look, as bold as it was a choice, a kind of armor. She once said, "I'm not offended by all the dumb blonde jokes, because I know I'm not dumb. I also know I'm not blonde." Beneath the rhinestones was a woman of immense intellect, with a pen sharper than most critics' tongues, and a business sense that could rival any executive in Nashville or Hollywood. Her decision to leave her professional partnership with Porter Wagoner in the 1970s was one of her earliest tests of boundaries. They had made music magic together, but she knew it was time to chart her own course. It was not easy. He was powerful. She was just a woman. But she did it anyway, and in doing so, she wrote one of the most iconic goodbye songs of all time, "I Will Always Love You." That song was more than a hit. It was a declaration of self-worth, a message to the world and to herself that she could walk away with grace, with love, and with her head held high. And she did. Again and again, Dolly defied expectations. They said she was too sweet. She proved she could be strong. They said she was all show. She built an empire. Every choice she made, to own her songs, to start her own publishing company, to turn her name into a brand, was deliberate. She made herself impossible to ignore and even harder to outsmart. And through it all, she remained unapologetically herself. She never dulled her sparkle to make others comfortable. She never lowered her voice to be taken seriously. Instead, she taught the world that beauty and brilliance, charm and courage, femininity and ferocity, they can live in the same woman. And in Dolly Parton, they do. For Dolly Parton, the stage was never limited to the microphone. Music was her first language, but storytelling was always the heartbeat beneath every note. As her songs climbed the charts and her name echoed across America, another calling emerged: the silver screen. And when Dolly walked onto movie sets, she brought the same fearless energy, the same sparkle in her eyes that had once lit up Grand Ole Opry halls. Her acting debut in 9 to 5 was more than a role. It was a revolution. She stood beside Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, playing a sassy secretary who dared to dream of a better workplace and demanded it. Audiences did not just laugh, they felt seen. For the first time, a blonde bombshell with a big voice became a cinematic symbol of working-class empowerment. The film became a cultural touchstone, and so did Dolly. But it was never about proving something. She was not trying to reinvent herself. She was simply expanding the stage. Whether she was playing a small-town beautician in Steel Magnolias or singing gospel on a Christmas special, Dolly brought something no acting school could teach: authenticity. She played herself, not because she lacked range, but because who she is, honest, hilarious, and human, was always more compelling than fiction. And then came Dollywood, not just a theme park, but a love letter to her roots. Nestled in the heart of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, it became a sanctuary of Southern pride, family tradition, and musical celebration. Visitors came for the rides, but they stayed for the heart. For Dolly, it was never about building a brand. It was about building a home where people could feel joy, feel nostalgia, feel connection. Every stage she stepped on, from late-night talk shows to Broadway soundtracks to television specials, Dolly made it hers. She did not shape-shift to fit expectations. She made the world expand to include her vision. Her humor disarmed, her kindness surprised, and her performances reminded us that fame does not have to be hollow. It can be healing. She was not just entertaining. She was leading, gently, with grace. And each time the curtain rose, Dolly Parton proved that her light was not confined to any one spotlight. It lived in every stage she touched. Behind every dazzling rhinestone, behind every joyful melody, there has always been a woman learning how to carry both the weight of the world and the weight of her own heart. Dolly Parton, the eternal optimist with a laugh that fills rooms, has also known exhaustion, the kind that settles into your bones no matter how bright the spotlight burns. In the whirlwind of her success during the 1980s, Dolly began to feel the cost of constant motion. The long tours, sleepless nights, pressure to deliver, to entertain, to sparkle, they all came with a toll. Though few knew it at the time, she was quietly grappling with fatigue so deep it clouded her joy. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, she was worn thin. The smile never faded, but behind it were moments of doubt and darkness that she later admitted nearly broke her. But Dolly has always been more than her image. She is a woman of deep reflection and even deeper resilience. Instead of running from the hard days, she leaned into healing. She turned to the quiet rituals that had comforted her since childhood: prayer, solitude, storytelling. She learned how to say no. She learned how to rest without guilt. She began to rebuild not just her schedule, but her soul. Dolly never chased youth. She cultivated vitality. She embraced habits that nourished her. No drinking, no smoking, no late-night excess. She spoke often about starting her days early, with stillness and gratitude. Her wellness routine was not about trends, but about truth, honoring the body that had carried her this far and the spirit that carried even more. Over the years, she has become a gentle advocate for balance. She talks openly about emotional well-being, about the importance of laughing through the pain, of knowing when to retreat and when to rise again. In a world obsessed with hustle, Dolly chose harmony, and perhaps that is her greatest strength. Not that she never fell, but that she always rose without bitterness. She found peace not in perfection, but in purpose. She turned vulnerability into wisdom and shared it generously, proving that a strong woman is not one who hides her wounds, but one who transforms them into light for others to follow. If Dolly Parton had stopped at music and movies, her legacy would already be extraordinary. But what truly sets her apart is not just what she sings, it is what she gives. Her philanthropy is not a public performance. It is woven into the fabric of her life, quietly rooted in the values she learned as a barefoot child in Tennessee. Kindness matters, and generosity changes lives. Perhaps no project captures her spirit better than the Imagination Library. Born from a simple desire to honor her father, a man who never learned to read, this initiative has since placed over 200 million free books into the hands of children around the world. Each book is a seed, planted in homes and hearts, giving young readers a chance at something Dolly herself once had to fight for: opportunity. But she did not stop with literacy. When wildfires swept through her beloved Smoky Mountains, she created the My People Fund and personally ensured that hundreds of displaced families received monthly support, not promises, but checks. When hospitals and communities cried out for help, she listened. In 2020, during a global crisis, she quietly donated $1 million to help fund research that would bring healing to millions. She did not do it for praise. She did it because it was right. For Dolly, giving is not an act of charity. It is an act of belonging. She often says she wants to leave something good in the world, but she already has. Her philanthropy is bold, consistent, and deeply personal. She gives not from guilt or image, but from conviction. In every cause she touches, there is a sense of intimacy, as if she knows every child who turns a page, every parent holding their breath in a hospital, every soul searching for hope. Her philanthropy reminds us that you do not have to be loud to make a difference. You just have to mean it. In a world that often measures love in headlines and short-lived passion, Dolly Parton's relationship with her husband, Carl Dean, is a quiet kind of miracle. Married since 1966, their partnership has remained almost entirely out of the public eye, and that, perhaps, is what has kept it strong. Carl Dean, a soft-spoken man who ran an asphalt paving business, has rarely appeared at events, rarely spoken to press. But to Dolly, he has been a constant, the safe harbor away from the storms of show business. She often jokes that he has only seen her perform once or twice and prefers their time together to be far from cameras and crowds. Their bond is built not on performance, but on privacy, on laughter, on trust. They never had children, but Dolly's maternal spirit shines through in her deep connection with her siblings, nieces, nephews, and the millions of children she's reached through her programs. She has long said that not having children allowed her to be everyone's fairy godmother, and indeed, for many, she is exactly that, a figure of comfort, warmth, and unconditional love. Her loyalty extends far beyond family. Dolly is famous for maintaining long-term friendships with colleagues, with backup singers, with childhood friends. She keeps people close, remembers birthdays, sends handwritten notes. In a business that often churns through connections, she builds relationships like she builds songs, with patience and sincerity. and anchoring it all is her faith. Dolly speaks of God not as a brand, but as a companion. Her mornings begin with prayer, her decisions guided by intuition and spirit. She does not preach, she radiates. Her faith is lived, not forced. It gives her resilience, gentleness, and a quiet certainty that even in uncertainty, she is exactly where she is meant to be. In love, in loyalty, in the way she lives and gives, Dolly Parton shows us that longevity is not luck. It is care, it is commitment. And above all, it is the choice to keep showing up with your heart open again and again. For most entertainers, longevity means holding on. For Dolly Parton, it has always meant letting go of old labels, old limits, and old expectations. She has never clung to the past. Instead, she reinvents, reimagines, and reminds the world that relevance is not about youth. It is about truth. In her 70s, while many slow down, Dolly accelerated. She embraced new platforms, collaborated with younger artists, launched best-selling books, and lit up television screens in glittering Christmas specials. She became a viral sensation, a fashion icon, a meme queen, all without ever changing who she was. She did not adapt to the times. She made the times adjust to her. Her music now spans genres, from country and gospel to pop, bluegrass, and even rock. Her 2023 album, a full-blown rock record, was her answer to being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. At first, she turned it down, saying she had not earned it. But the world insisted, and she, ever the gracious performer, gave it everything. Not to prove herself, but to honor the art form, to honor the fans. Dolly does not chase attention. It finds her because she radiates timeless energy. She speaks to every generation, the grandmother who grew up with her vinyl records, the teenager discovering her wisdom through TikTok, the mother reading her child a book from Imagination Library. She stays current because she stays curious, because she listens, because she laughs at herself and lifts others up, and because she has never lost the wonder that first filled her heart when she stood barefoot on a front porch in Sevier County and sang to the stars. Dolly Parton is not just a music legend. She is a movement, a living, breathing reminder that greatness does not have to be loud, cruel, or perfect. Her legacy lives in every melody she has written, in every child who opens a book, in every soul who feels a little less alone because of her presence in the world. She has given voice to the silenced, joy to the weary, and strength to those who doubted their worth. And she has done it all without losing herself, without trading her essence for applause. She taught us that it is okay to be soft in a hard world, that glitter is not frivolous, but powerful when worn with purpose, and that no one is too small to make a difference. Her impact is not measured in trophies, but in trust, in the millions who love her, not just because of what she does, but because of who she is. Unafraid, unfiltered, unbreakable. She is a star who has never burned out, because she burns from within. Maybe she is the voice that comforted you during heartbreak. Maybe she is the laugh that lifted you when days felt heavy. Maybe she reminds you of your mother, your hometown, your roots. Or maybe, like for millions around the world, she represents the best parts of us all: kindness, courage, creativity, and hope. What does Dolly mean to you? Is it the first time you heard Jolene and felt your heart race? Is it the way Coat of Many Colors made you cry for a little girl you never met? Share your stories. Share your love. Because Dolly Parton is more than a celebrity. She is a shared memory, a cultural treasure, a human reminder that light, when shared, multiplies. And if her journey has touched yours in any way, let her know. Through your voice, your kindness, your own story told boldly and beautifully. Because that, too, is part of her legacy.